Do you think you know everything about the Warriors?
Warriors, come out to play.
This 70s classic that marked a generation and became a late-night cult hit has a behind-the-scenes story more intense than many of the gang fights in the movie. Hold on tight, because what we found out will make you see this film in a whole new light. There are connections to Star Wars, real gangs messing with the production, an actor fired mid-shoot, deleted scenes, and so much more. So get comfy and come with me on this nostalgic trip straight to 1979 New York. It all started back in 1965, when author Saul Urich wrote the book The Warriors. He wanted to challenge the romanticized view of gangs shown in the 1961 film West Side Story. Years later, when producer Lawrence Gordon came across an old copy of the book, he immediately thought, there's something good here. He brought in screenwriter David Shaber and director Walter Hill. At first, the plan was to make a Western, but with a tight budget, they swapped horses for leather jackets. The budget was $4 million. The box office, over $22 million. Not to mention the tons of VHS tapes and DVDs sold later. Filming began in June 1978, right in the middle of New York City. The city was chaotic, making it the perfect setting. 1979 was the year of gang-themed movies. There was The Wanderers, Boulevard Nights, Over the Edge, and The Warriors hit theaters first on February 9th. Post-production was pure madness. 3 editing teams working 24/7 to beat the competition to release. Total chaos, and the drama didn't stop there. Critics, politicians, and even community leaders accused the Warriors of promoting gang violence. As a result, theaters began canceling screenings and ramping up security. There were fights, riots, total mayhem. During filming, real gangs hung around the sets, shouting threats, disrupting scenes. They even invaded the set during a lunch break. The producers had to pay a real gang, the Mongrels, $500 a day just to protect the equipment. Imagine the atmosphere. Ronald Reagan, who later became president of the US, was a fan of the movie. He even called actor Michael Beck to say he loved the story. Originally, director Walter Hill wanted the Warriors to be an all-black gang, but Paramount shut the idea down. Another plan was to start the movie with the phrase, "sometime in the future," but the studio rejected it, saying it felt too much like Star Wars. Fox was supposed to have a romance with Mercy, but producers felt they had no chemistry. So the script was changed. The role of Swan was first offered to actor Tony Danza, but he chose to star in the sitcom Taxi instead. That's when Michael Beck was invited to audition, thanks to his performance in Mad Men. The character Vermin was supposed to die in the scene with the Lizzies, but he brought so much humor and charm that the producers loved it and canceled his death. Oh, and actor Irwin Keyes was almost cast as Ajax, but they thought he looked too old. Still, he found a way in. He's the cop who arrests Ajax in this scene. There was even a gang that got cut from the script called the Dingoes with Pinscher and Doberman dogs. They were supposed to capture Swan at some point. Actor Kevin Bacon was even considered for that gang. Some people swear that the voice in the opening is Orson Welles.
Theirs was a story of a desperate forced march.
Walter Hill actually wanted him, but the studio didn't want to pay his fee. So Walter himself did the narration. Cinematographer Andrew Laszlo requested that it rain at the beginning of the film. Why? Because he wanted the streets to be wet and give the movie that distinctive visual style. Actress Deborah Van Valkenburg, who played Mercy, broke her wrist in one scene because the actor playing Fox didn't let go of her hand. After that, she appears wearing a jacket to hide the cast. In this scene, actor Michael Beck accidentally hit her in the face with a bat. She ended up in the hospital at 3 a.m. She still has the scar to this day. The closing credits song, In the City, was written especially for the film by none other than Joe Walsh, guitarist for the Eagles. This one's jaw-dropping. In the iconic gang meeting scene, many of the extras were real gang members from New York. It was a goodwill gesture from the production team to be allowed to film in their territory, but guess who didn't like that idea? The police. They sent undercover cops to blend in with the crowd. So, in that scene, you've got real gangs and real cops all mixed together. And get this, the role of Cyrus, the leader trying to unite all the gangs, was originally supposed to be played by a real gang member, but on the day of filming, the guy just disappeared, never seen again. Creepy, right? The Baseball Furies were born from 2 of director Walter Hill's biggest passions, baseball and the band Kiss. That's why they wear those uniforms and spooky face paint. The running scenes were performed by real athletes from the New York Roadrunners. The fights, done by stuntmen. That brawl took 2 weeks of rehearsal and a full week to film. And here's a crazy detail. Stuntman Stephen Chambers broke several ribs after getting hit in the side by Michael Beck. The shot stayed in the final cut. The Furies were inspired by a real gang called Second Base. They didn't wear uniforms or makeup. The connection is mainly mainly the name. It's pretty clear in this scene.
Our friends are on second base and trying to make it all the way.
Actor Conrad Sheehan, who played the leader of the punks, claimed he could roller skate just to land the role. But he didn't know a thing. He spent the summer of '78 training by himself and even skated 25 miles across the city just to practice. Remember the Warriors logo? It was inspired by the logo of the Hells Angels biker gang. And in that train station scene where the Warriors are running from the cops, they pass a bearded man wearing a beret. Look closely. That's director Walter Hill making a cameo in his own movie. In 2005, the legendary Rockstar Games released a video game based on the movie for PS2 and Xbox. And man, the game is amazing. It captures the vibe of the film perfectly. The gangs, the fights, pure old school beat 'em up. If you're a fan of the movie, the game is just as good. According to David Patrick Kelly, that hearse the characters ride in had no seats. They had to balance on crates to see over the dashboard. David also played the villain Luther in 48 Hours, also directed by Walter Hill. Actor Thomas Waits was fired after 8 weeks of shooting due to conflicts with the director. His character was written out of the film. He even asked to have his name removed from the end credits. And to this day, Walter Hill says he regrets how it all went down. That gang summit scene where Cyrus is assassinated was actually inspired by a real event in 1971. Back then, a man named Black Benji from the Ghetto Brothers gang tried to broker peace between rival gangs in the Bronx and Brooklyn, but he was killed during the meeting. Actor Marcelino Sanchez, who played Rembrandt, was openly gay, and in the film, he's the only warrior who shows no interest in the Lizzies, hinting that his character might be gay too. And in the final scene when Swan throws the switchblade into Luther's arm, that's no random move. It's a direct reference to the film Yojimbo by the legendary Akira Kurosawa. Sanjuro does the exact same thing to disarm a gunman. The DJ in the movie only appears partially on screen, and in case you didn't know, she was played by Lynn Thigpen, who sadly passed away in 2003 from a cerebral hemorrhage. Twisted Sister has a song called Come Out and Play that starts exactly like Luther's taunt to the Warriors.
Come out and play!
And did you know that bottle clinking scene was completely improvised by David Patrick Kelly? The director felt something was missing, so he asked him to come up with something on the spot. David grabbed some bottles from the sidewalk and invented the now iconic line. He was inspired by a neighbor who used to terrorize him as a kid. And the references don't stop there. There's The Simpsons,
To play!
Pulp Fiction,
Vincent.
Rockstar's Bully Game.
Jimmy Hopkins, come out and play!
So many tributes to this movie. If you remember any others, drop them in the comments. The first deleted scene showed Cleon saying goodbye to his girlfriend in broad daylight in Coney Island. He also explained why he chose each member to attend the big meeting, but the editors felt it would be more impactful to start the film at night and save the daytime only for the end, as a metaphor for a mission accomplished. And speaking of the final scene, here's a fun fact. The graffiti with the word Warriors was sprayed over a real gang symbol. The production had to pay off the actual gang to avoid any trouble, and even gave them roles as extras in the movie. Other scenes were also left out, Ajax showing signs of nervousness before the meeting and being encouraged by Swan. The Warriors arriving at the park looking for the meeting location. Parts of Cyrus's speech were cut. Originally, it was much longer. Some of the DJ's lines were also removed. A scene where a gang leader finds out that neither the police nor the baseball Furies managed to catch the Warriors was excluded. Swan discovering that every gang in the city was now hunting them down. And in the ending, there was a moment when the Warriors spot the rogues and run away from them. That's a wrap on another video. For more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Also, drop a comment telling us when you first watched this movie. And feel free to share any other fun facts we didn't mention in the video. That's it from me for now. See you next time.